Well, the World Cup means a lot to South Africa and South Africans. It's a huge event, an event that we are hoping to showcase our country, but also an event that we hope that will have benefit, economic benefit to South Africa. Our concerns is that not everyone will benefit, and in particular that the poorest of the poor in South Africa will be left out of the World Cup and the benefits that it could provide. In South Africa, informal trading forms a very important part of our economy, and it provides employment opportunities to a huge sector in our society.
During that period, they just want to make it seem like there's no poverty in South Africa, moving away all the street traders from their usual places of business for a period of 6 weeks, which is really devastating for someone who's living from hand to mouth.
Well, of course, informal trading in South Africa, it's a reality. It's part of our economy. You can't think it away. We live in a third world country. But there are hundreds of thousands of people who depend on informal trading, either by way of selling goods or by cooking. You'll find many people who's cooking for workers or near building sites, especially you will always find the auntie sitting there cooking and so on. If you go and look at statistics of how many people depend on that income of the informal trading, you are really talking about a huge number of people who's going to be negatively affected if they suddenly are not allowed to trade. If there's no bylaws, any town is open for trading. And then if there is bylaws, you will find free areas. You will find an open area where anybody can trade. Then you will find a restricted area where you can trade, but you must have what we can call a license or permit or something from the municipality. And then you have prohibited areas where you're not allowed to trade at all. So that's the current law.
What's happened now is that the municipalities have passed bylaws specifically for the time when the World Cup will be taking place, as well as for the Confederations Cup, which already took place last year. And what it does is it sort of superimposes a new regime on people, but they were never really informed about it, and they never really had an opportunity to participate in those bylaws being created. And so many of their rights are being taken away from them with these new bylaws.
What makes this worse is because we're not talking about people who's unlawfully trading now. We are talking about people who's lawfully trading now. And there's also no offer from the side of government to compensate these people for that loss of income that they will have. So it's really like thousands and thousands of people who's really going to sit without the income. And that's, of course, a huge concern to us.
LHR has been consulting with a number of traders who have been working around Soccer City. That's where the main events are going to take place in Johannesburg. They've been trading there for about 4 years or so, and they've been recently told that they have to move. They had the impression that they would be able to stay there at least until the end of construction, but they're also hoping to stay in order to trade during the World Cup itself. Now, each of these traders are in fact licensed, and they have the authorization from the city to remain there, but they have been told to leave despite these licenses. We find that this is a problem that's happening with a number of informal traders around Johannesburg and also in many of the cities where the World Cup tournaments are going to take place, and we're afraid that their rights are being infringed and that they're not going to be able to fully benefit from the World Cup like many of the large corporations who will be also trading in those areas.
Yes, I've been here from 2006. Well, it's whereby we start to have to meet some problems when they start to build the stadium, because people, they want to chase us as the vendors outside, because to pave the way for those people who were doing canteen inside for the construction. But we resisted that thing until now, as you see us here.
I heard my mother speaking, telling us tomorrow that on the 28th we are leaving here. They are chasing us away. They are saying there are people who are going to enter here inside. I myself feel so bad, because you see this stadium, they started here from the start up to the end, supporting these people, but now they're chasing away just like that.
Many of these informal traders are some of the most vulnerable in society. Some of them have been forced to go into informal trading because they're unable to find employment in the formal economic sectors. Other people have chosen to do so because it allows them to support their families. We have to remember that it's not only the informal traders who are being affected by these bylaws, but their families, their dependents, their extended families as well, who are dependent on the income that's generated from their small businesses.
I'm going to suffer now because the work is finished. So I don't have anything to give my child, you see? And I can't manage myself. So I don't know what I'm going to do, I don't know.
There was actually a meeting of some hawkers who approached our Johannesburg office who were very concerned about what's going to happen to their livelihood during the FIFA 2010 World Cup. And we're trying to do a countrywide class action, so to speak.
What we try to do with this case is just to protect people's income, to say that they are trading lawfully where they are, and you cannot just expropriate them of that right that they do have. It's an old principle in our law that you cannot expropriate people without at least compensation. But of course, we would like them to be allowed to try to keep on trading where they are. And if it's really causing some problem that we don't understand, then they must at least get compensation for that time.
According to me, informal trading is playing a big role here in South Africa, because without those informal traders, where will all these people who are working as informal traders, as it is said, will be by now? What will they be doing? How much crime will we be having if we didn't have informal traders? Let's just think of those people who are selling on the street, how many they are. How many helpers are we having as informal traders? I think informal trading is just as big formal businesses. I don't see any difference. The only difference is the conditions and the way we are being treated. That's the only difference I can see.
They must check also the people, the suffering, the poverty of those people. If we are chasing these people, where are they going to get the next bread? That's what we are crying about.
So what we've done now is we've sent our letters of demand to the different municipalities, and we started to draft papers that will challenge those bylaws, either by saying it could not have been the intention of the legislation that these bylaws is going to be so restrictive on the rights of the street traders. And if it is the intention of that legislation, it must, of course, be unconstitutional, because it's basically expropriation of your rights as a street trader.
Bamnya,